Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Miller Time segment tonight. Our pal Dennis, once again, running around the country supporting the Republican Party. But before he left, I talked with him from Santa Barbara, California. So, Miller, were you as bored as I was during the final debate? I mean, watching this, I was stupefying.
No, I thought it was a great debate. I thought Romney orchestrated a three-act arc there. I think Barack Obama, by the way, I would remind everybody, and I'm not saying it's any more than it is. All four debates, the Dem had more time than the Republican. Not saying it's the end of the world or paranoid. I am saying, though, in all four debates, they had more time. And I sometimes wish President Obama was as aggressive with the Arab world as he is with Americans who disagree with him. I mean, he had to have his one jerk moment, I think of them as, where he pulled out the bayonets and the ponies. And you know something, Bill, at some point, a show of force like Marines with fixed bayonets outside the Benghazi consulate might have been enough to preclude some of the issues that have happened over there the last month. I sometimes feel Romney is presidential and Obama is like the gossip columnist for the Picayune Times. I wish he'd be more presidential, quite frankly. And you know something? Barack Obama at this point ought to thank God for one thing and one thing alone, or he wouldn't even be in this election. That's waterboarding. Because if they hadn't turned that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed pig upside down and poured water down his nose, and he spilled his guts that led to this guy croaking Osama bin Laden, he wouldn't even be in there with a chance right now.
Now, were you surprised that Romney didn't take the Libyan club, the chaos and the misinformation that came out of the Obama administration after the murders of the 4 Americans? Were you surprised that Romney did not use that?
Here's the way I look at it, Bill. In lieu of being competent in Libya, you've now had these people sitting there for 3 weeks hatching a story. The fact that Romney didn't bite and Obama looped back around to Libya and he still didn't bite told me that that was a smart move by Romney. I didn't see it beforehand. Like everybody else, I wanted him to wade in. But guess what? Mitt Romney knows how to be Mitt Romney better than any of us know how to be Mitt Romney. And sometimes when you watch the NBA and a guy sets up in the low box, Shaq or somebody, and they lean back, and the guy behind him defending him instead of bracing him just backs away, and the guy falls backwards, that seemed to me what Romney was doing with Obama there. He just wouldn't go in. And by the way, I want to thank Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum for inoculating our guy way back when they would get under his skin in the debates. I thought that served Romney well because he's seen behavior that is there to prick him, and he looked more presidential than the president.
All right. Now, the United Nations is going to monitor the U.S. election. I think somebody's assigned to follow you around, Miller, to make sure you don't vote 4 times. So the UN is going to fan out across the United States in different polling places to make sure there's no cheating, there's no subterfuge, none of that stuff. And you say?
Here's the unspoken mandate for the UN. They're going to make sure Jews don't vote. That's what the UN's going to do. Listen, there are wolves in hen houses who are blushing about this. Why don't we just give Michael Moore the keys to the walk-in freezer while we're at it? I hope when they're out there keeping their eye on the evil GOP trying to manipulate the vote, if they happen to trip across a Black Panther wielding a pipe wrench, they'll do more than Holder did about that.
Yeah, I know. That'll be in Philadelphia particularly. There might be a little clash. See, what I think might happen is that the Panthers in Philadelphia with the Iron Jacks may beat up the UN guys. See, that might happen because the UN guys are hanging around. What are you doing here, you honky? Or whatever they do, you know, and banging into the
UN. Are you kidding me? As I've often said, a bunch of Victor Buono lookalikes and fezzes trying to beat parking tickets on the Lower East Side. Get out of here with the UN. I took the tour. Even the guidebook was spineless.
All right. Now, Lance Armstrong, who I think bicycled by your mansion a couple of times, is now he's disgraced, and he lost all the Tour de France medals or whatever they give over there because he was doping, and you say?
Well, he probably took away the medals, but ironically, he'll get to keep the yellow shirts. Listen, if he was doping, That's one thing. But, man, I have read a lot of articles about this guy bracing cats who are going to out him and talking about ruining their lives. If everybody doped on a tour and he doped and he was better doping, that interests me less than a man who looks at minions who have helped him and been protectors of the secrets. And when they were said that they were being deposed and sworn in and had to tell the truth, when he threatens their livelihood, that's a bad guy. That disappoints me about Lance. I've always been a fan. Races come and go, but that's the lasting legacy when you threaten minions, man. That is bad, bad form.
All right, Dennis Miller, everybody.